Hello, everyone. Welcome to third grade math lesson with Mrs. Sweetlow. Our text focus for today is 3.2a, compose and decompose numbers up to 100,000 as a sum of so many 10,000s, so many thousands, so many hundreds, so many tens, and so many ones using objects, pictorial models, and numbers, including expanded notation as appropriate. Our learning goal for today, I can compose and decompose numbers up to 10,000 using pictorial model, standard form, expanded form. And the success criteria that we'll be checking off along the way are, I can compose and decompose numbers using pictorial model. I can compose and decompose number using standard form. And I can compose and decompose number using expanded form. Vocabulary words focus for today in this lesson is compose, to put together smaller numbers to make a larger numbers. Decompose, to break a number down into smaller parts. For example, if I'm going to break apart 10, it can be 5 and 5. Standard form, expressing numbers using numbers. So this is the normal way you see numbers, standard form. Expanded form, writing a number by separating each digit based on its place value. The materials that we need for these lessons are place value chart. It looks like this. You might have a different place value chart that has the name of the place value on the top. Place value disc, writing utensils, personal whiteboards. If you don't have the dry erase board, you can create your own using white and red cardstocks and then sheet protector. Let's work on our concept development. Understanding the place value chart using place value disc. So before we move on to composing and decomposing of numbers, let's understand how we can use the place value chart and how does a place value disc will help us with this lesson. So we're talking about only whole numbers for today, and the smallest unit is the ones, and then the tens, hundreds, and thousand. And this is the place value chart. Ones is counting by 1, 10 is counting by 10, hundreds is counting by 100, and thousand is counting by 1,000. So let me ask you, what is the highest digit that you can put in the ones place? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you say 9, you are correct. Because if you have 10 ones, you can regroup that 10 ones and move it to the next place value, which is the tens place. Now, let me ask you, what is the highest digit you can put in the tens place? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. If you say 9 tens, again, you are correct. Because if we add one more 10, you just created 100 that we can move on to the next place value, which is the hundreds place. And are you seeing the pattern? That if you have how many hundreds? If you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you are going to make, you can make a 1,000. So regroup that and move it to the 1,000. And how many 1,000 you need to make 10,000? The key is 10, 10,000. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, you created another place value. But we're going to focus only into 9, 10,000 for today. And don't forget your comma. Now we try. We are going to write this model in a standard form. So how many ones do you see? 7 ones. How many tens do you see? 5 tens. How many hundreds do you see? 3 hundreds. And how many thousands do you see? 6,000. And how are we going to write that in a standard form? If you say 6,357, you are correct. Now, you try. How are you going to write this pictorial model in a standard form? So the word is compose a standard form. You can pause the video so you can try it yourself. All right. We have 8 ones. We have 7 tenths. We have 2 hundredths. And we have 5,000. What is the number that you composed? If you say 5,278, you are correct. Now, expanded form. Now we are going to try it together and then you're going to have your chance to try it by yourself. All right. Now, let's look at the pictorial model. How many ones do we see? 8 ones. How many tens do we see? 7 tens. How many hundreds do we see? 2 hundreds. And how many thousands do we see? 5 thousands. If we compose this number, our standard form would be 5,278. Now, we are going to try to decompose this standard form, and we are going to create our expanded form. Now, how are we going to do that? We are going to use this model, and we are going to create or figure out the value of each digit. So these 8 ones, the value of these 8 ones is 8. Because this is counting by 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The value of the 7 tenths is, if you say 70, you are correct because it's counting by 10. The value of these 2 hundredths is 200 because it's counting by 100. And the value of this 5 thousandths is 5,000. Now, this is how we're going to write it in expanded form. 5,000 plus 200 plus 70 plus 8. And that is how we are going to decompose that 5,278 using the expanded form. Now, you try. You may pause the video if you need more time, but I'm going to start and continue on to the lesson. Let's look at the model. You have 5 ones, 8 tenths. Have you noticed that there's no 100? Yes, so we have 0 hundreds and 7,000. Now, how are we going to write that in a standard form? It is 7,078. Now, remember that this 0, you cannot ignore it. You still need to put it if you're writing your standard form because that holds the place value for 100. It means we do not have 100. Let's move on. So now let's go figure out the value of each digit. 5 is 5 ones. 8 tenths is 80. 0 hundreds is 0. And 7,000 is 7,000. Now, when we are writing it in expanded form or we're decomposing this number, this is how you're going to do it. 7,000 plus 80 plus 5. Have you noticed that I did not rewrite the 0 ones, 0 hundreds? It's because if you put this together, you're going to come up with, if you compose this 7,000 plus 80 plus 5, you are going to come up with 7,078. So you don't need to write that in expanded form, but you must write it when you are writing the standard form. Now, expanded form to standard form. Now you try. You may pause the video if you need more time. You have 4,730 and 6. How are we going to compose a standard form using this expanded form? Now I'm going to represent it using our pictorial model. I have 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. Let's come up to the 100. How many hundreds do we have? 700. All right. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700. And how many tens? 3 tens, 30, 10, 20, 30. And 6 ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let's go figure out the unit form. The 4,000 is 4,000. 700 is 700. 3 tens is 30. 6 ones is 6. And if we compose this number, this model, we're going to come up with, if you say 4,736, you are correct. Now let's go visit our learning goal again, and let's go see if we check off all the success criteria. I can compose and decompose numbers up to 10,000 using pictorial model, standard form, and expanded form. We compose a number, we decompose a number, we use pictorial model, we use standard form, and we use the expanded form. Let's go see. I can compose and decompose number using pictorial model. That is correct, because we did that in the lesson, all throughout the lesson. I can compose and decompose numbers using standard form. That's also a check, because we used that along the way, along the lesson. I can compose and decompose number using expanded form. All right, guys. Thank you, and see you again soon.